Hello and welcome students. Today we are going to discuss about the steady state drug levels. I, Dr. Adil Patel, welcomes you for the discussion of this particular topic. Now let us try to understand what is steady state concentration in pharmacokinetics. So steady state concentration, which is also known as CSS, occurs when the amount of a drug being absorbed is the same amount that is being cleared from the body when the drug is given continuously or repeatedly. So remember one thing, the rate of drug absorption is equal to the rate of drug excretion, and when this particular situation is attained inside the body, at that time we can say that the plasma concentration has achieved the steady state. Now, for most drugs, the time to reach steady state is 4 to 5 half lives if the drug is given at regular intervals, no matter the number of doses, the dose size, or the dosing interval. What is half life? So, half life is the duration till which the drug remains into systemic circulation. A half-life is how long it takes for half of the drug to be eliminated from the body. So this is the other way to understand the concept of half-life, that when the half quantity of drug is eliminated from the body, so that particular time period is known as the half-life. Now why this steady state concentration is very important? So for simplicity, let us assume we administer a dose every half-life. Now, if a single dose is given every half-life, half of the first dose will be cleared from the body before the next dose. So after the second dose, there will be 1.5 doses in the body. 50% comes from the previous dose and the 100% comes from the current dose. Half of that is eliminated and then the next dose is given, meaning there are now 1.75 doses in the body. 25% from the first dose, 50% from the second dose, and 100% from the third dose. At dose number 5, that is after 5 half-lives, there will be close to 2 doses in the body, which means one entire dose is eliminated each dosing interval. Now, if we continue dosing at the same frequency, the amount we dose will be eliminated during each dosing interval. So after 5 doses, whatever dose you are giving, the same quantity of dose or the same quantity of drug is eliminated from the body. As a result, the drug concentration in the body remain constant. So initially the drug concentration increases, and after certain period of time when the dose administered is equal to the dose eliminated, at that particular point the plasma concentration of drug becomes constant, and that is called the steady state concentration. Now let us try to understand another way to think about the steady state. So what happens after dose 1? So there is 0.5 dose left at the end of the dosing interval. This means we are at 50% steady state. After dose 2, there are 1.5 doses in the body. Then half-life is eliminated to leave 0.75 doses. So at that point 70% steady state is there. After dose number 3, there are 1.75 doses in the body, then half is eliminated to leave 0.875 doses, that is equivalent to 88% steady state. After dose number 4, there are 1.875 doses in the body, then half-life is eliminated to leave 0.9375 doses, that is equivalent to 94% steady state. And after dose number 5, there are 1.9375 doses in the body, then half-life or the half is eliminated to leave 0.96 doses, which is equivalent to 97% of steady state. So from this example we can understand that the steady state is achieved after the administration of 5 doses, and as I said in the beginning that normally it takes 4 to 5 half-lives to achieve the steady state. So whenever we are taking any medication or whenever we are going through a treatment, with the very first dose we are not going to attain the steady state concentration, but after administering the fourth or the fifth dose, our body has enough concentration of drug that will be constant throughout the treatment, because now the amount of drug which is going into body or which is going into systemic circulation is equal to the amount of drug excreted by the body, and so there is a constant level of drug in plasma, and because of that the steady state concentration has been achieved. Now this graph would help you to understand the concept of steady state concentration, how the plasma concentration fluctuates after each dose, and how the steady state concentration is achieved after 4 to 5 half-life. So at 97% we are considered to be at approximate steady state, where the rate of input equals the rate of elimination at one dose per dosing interval. So if you see the blue line in this graph, so initially the blue line is increasing, and after certain period of time you can see that the blue line has become a constant, right? So initially the slope is very high, and after certain period of time slope gets decreases, and at one particular point it will become zero. So the point at which the slope of blue line becomes zero is called the steady state condition. The red line indicates the concentration of drug into blood after each individual dose. So initially the rise in blood concentration is very sharp, and once the steady state is achieved, the constant concentration of drug is observed into systemic circulation. Now, how do you calculate the average steady state concentration? So this is a very important thing in pharmacokinetics, that how can someone calculate the steady state concentration, because this calculation or the value of drug concentration needed to achieve steady state will help you to design the dosage regimen. So unfortunately, it's not as easy as counting chocolates in a box. So a metaphor has been used that the concentration of steady state drug plasma level is not easy to count. So there are many formulas that are used to calculate various pharmacokinetic parameters, and from there the average steady state concentration is calculated. So basically what they are trying to say that we do not have any direct or easy method to calculate the steady state concentration of drug, but instead we have to rely on other pharmacokinetic parameters for the calculation of steady state concentration. But a very simple way to remember it is that the average steady state concentration, that is CSS, is the total exposure, which is area under the curve AUC, over one dosing interval divided by the duration of dosing interval. The next relevant question would be that can the loading dose speed up the time to achieve steady state? So for a drug with a short half-life, steady state is achieved very quickly. So if you have 2 3 drugs in front of you with similar pharmacological effects, go and check the half-life of each individual drug. The drug with the shortest half-life will achieve steady state very quickly. But say you have a drug with long half-life and the patient who needs to achieve a therapeutic effect fast. So in that case, the concept of loading dose will be very helpful. Now a loading dose is a higher dose administered on treatment initiation, which is also known as the booster dose. It will still take the usual 4 to 5 half-lives to reach steady state, but the initial concentration will be closer to the eventual steady state concentration, which means the therapeutic effect will happen faster. So in certain conditions, a quick onset of action is necessary. So if a drug is not having short half-life and still you want to achieve the quick onset of action, better you go for the loading dose where you are giving some extra quantity of drug at the beginning of the treatment. Now the question is what affects average steady state concentration? So let us try to understand various factors affecting the steady state concentration. So number one is the dosing interval. So the dosing interval affects steady state concentration in a proportional way. The more frequently the drug is given, the higher the steady state concentration values. Then the dose. So in the same way, higher doses will increase the steady state concentration values and lower doses will decrease them. The dose required to reach and maintain steady state depends on the drug clearance rate, which in turn can be affected by the patient's demographic. Drug clearance. So, drug clearance, which is also known as CL, dictates the rate at which a drug is eliminated from the body. The slower the clearance, the more of the drug will remain in the system and the higher the CSS is achieved. Demographic factors, so they can alter a patient's drug clearance rate, which then changes the CSS. A patient's weight, their excretory and metabolic functions, and other drugs they are taking can all cause fluctuations. For example, say someone has renal failure, so in comparison to the healthy person, their rate of clearance would be different. When they are administered a drug that's eliminated mostly via the kidneys, the steady state concentration of that drug will be higher than it would be for someone with healthy renal functions who's getting the same dosage. The next question we should answer is how does steady state apply to drug studies? So, in studies conducted in spatial populations and in studies for assessing drug interactions, you might be required to take any necessary measurements when drug concentrations have reached steady state. Understanding steady state is also important for choosing the right dose and dosing interval to achieve a desired steady state concentration and for determining how long it will take for therapeutic exposures to be achieved during repeat or continuous dosing. since it might take several doses for a drug to achieve therapeutic benefit. Now, what is the conclusion of all this discussion? A good understanding of steady state is helpful since these values is key in certain drug studies. These concepts are also critical in selecting an appropriate dose and dosing frequency to achieve safe therapeutic drug concentrations in patient. The steady state concentration can be affected by various factors from the patient's weight to the frequency of doses, and while you can speed up the therapeutic effect of a drug with a loading dose, you can't speed up the time to steady state. So, dear students, that was all about the steady state concentration, how to achieve steady state concentration, how to find out the values of steady state concentration, and what kind of factors are affecting the steady state concentration. Please go through this video and let me know if you have any query or question. Thank you very much for watching this video. Stay safe and have a good day.